Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review. Today from McFarlane Toys and DC Direct, we are featuring Batman Fighting the Frozen. Alright, so this belongs to the Page Punchers line. It includes an exclusive comic book. Incredible version of Batman here. This kind of feels like some sort of crazy, like Frank Frazetta, Simon Bisley, 2000 AD comics Barbarian version of Batman. This looks like Batman if he took on Conan the Barbarian or Slain the Horned God. It looks amazing. You might remember some years back, McFarlane gave us that kind of like gladiator version of Superman. So it looks like this might be something that paired nicely with that alternate version of the Man of Steel. Wonderful looking accessories. He comes with this giant axe and this cool looking cleaver. On the back, not much to say about the figure. Alright, so this comes in that kind of like clamshell plastic packaging, which I'm going to have to take out. So just give me a moment, and when I'm back, we'll have this figure fully unboxed. Alright, so I'm back with the figure fully unboxed. You can see here you're getting a lot of bang for your buck with this Page Punchers action figure from McFarlane. First, you have the trading card. It depicts Batman as he appears in Fighting for the Frozen comic book, or Fighting the Frozen comic book. Here's a nice little synopsis of the comic book series, which was published back in, I think, 2023, so we're like 2 years ago. Batman comes with the display base, which is often always included with McFarlane Toys. Here are the accessories. He comes with a giant axe with the blade shaped like the Batman emblem. You can see the horns and the wings. Comes with this giant cleaver. The figure itself, which looks phenomenal. This looks amazing. And then he comes also with the first issue. It's a reproduction of Fighting the Frozen. Gorgeous comic book. Written by Rex Ogle with art by Travis Mercer. Yeah, I'm really going to miss the Page Punchers. I love the idea of the Page Punchers because for me, it was almost like the older Toy Biz Marvel Legends when they came with the comic books. It's a great way for like kids and fans to be introduced to the characters like in their native form, in the world of comics. And it's kind of like your gateway, your gateway drug into going into the comic book shop. If this comic piques your interest, it might, entice you to make a store run adventure to the shop and pick up a couple of comics for yourself. Alright, so this gorgeous Batman figure, and I mean gorgeous, this thing is beautiful. Now, this is awesome because if you love like Conan the Barbarian, this figure is for you. He stands in at about 7 3/4 inches to the top of the horns. If you wanted to, you could easily make a Conan the Barbarian. Just do a head swap because this looks like friggin' Conan the Barbarian. The size of the figure, the musculature, all the details like the furry boots, the loincloth, the belt. This is a wild interpretation of the Batman character. Even the jawline just screams Conan. This is beautiful. Size-wise, here it is next to another McFarlane Batman figure. Roughly the same height, same size, same mass. Much larger than like a Marvel Legends. These are different scales. This is 1/10 scale, where this is kind of like within that 1/12 scale. The detailing is beautiful. I can't stress that enough. It has the crazy bat-like wings, the stitching on the mask. You can just imagine what kind of animal he had to take down. Maybe it was a bear or like a mammoth. Beautiful sculpting on the fur-like mane. Gorgeous belt. You can see the Batman emblem right there. Love the bracers. Yeah, this is a gorgeous piece. If you're a customizer and you really want to build a cool Barbarian figure, this is the figure to use as a base. You're not going to find a better figure than this. Just look at that. If you're into like Masters of the Universe, especially the Masterverse line, and this figure would be at home in that collection, especially with this being a larger scale. If you're into like Mythic Legions, this would look awesome also, but there's going to be a height difference. In terms of articulation, Batman's head looks left and right. Kind of looks up and down. A standard articulation in the arms, like most McFarlane figures. Yeah, the ball-socketed butterfly joint. Some good posability in the arms. Double-jointed, double-pinned elbows, articulated wrists. Diaphragm cut mid-torso. And there's also a waist swivel. A little stiff, but it moves. The loincloth is made of a soft rubbery plastic, so you could kick up about there, kick outward, double pinned knees, very stiff and tight, ratcheted, articulated ankles and toes. This figure really surprised me. I knew it was an awesome figure to begin with, but the more I handle it, the more I just keep on falling in love with it. It's awesome. You know, even if you're not into this comic book and you just want a really sick Barbarian figure, this is the way to go. You're not going to find a cooler Barbarian figure at this price point. I got this at my mall last year at my FYE For Your Entertainment store. You might be able to find this maybe on Amazon. Definitely on eBay. I'm not sure what the current price is, but if this is something that piques your interest, you know, it's really worth it. Just look at that. Very imposing figure. You know, it's it's so well made and well crafted. The attention to detail just blows my mind. All the stitching, all the texture work. It looks amazing. I'm gonna be so sad once McFarlane loses the DC license. You know, they've given us a good, 5, almost 6 years worth of, like, gorgeously rendered DC action figures. And it's going to be sad to see it go. But it was a fun ride, you know, while it lasted. And if you haven't, you know, dived into this line yet, you know, it's well worth looking into. McFarlane's produced some beautiful action figures over the last few years. All right, so with that being said, let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. All right, later.